Can you imagine something that's always there, but never really is constantly utilized, but never really noticed? A complex system that allows you to function as a human being, that shapes your personality and prevents you from repeating the mistakes that you have already made. I'm talking about your memory, and I'll discuss with you why you should acknowledge the fact that your brain is a phenomenal composition of cells. Now, I know we've all had this moment, at least once in our lives, where we're sitting on the couch or was playing outside, and suddenly you get hungry. So what do? You'd head over to the pantry or to the fridge with a snack in mind. Then something grabs your attention for the slightest moment. You look back at the fridge or the pantry, and now you've forgotten why you're there. You look around noticing you're in the kitchen, so you assume you're there to eat something, but you just don't know what. This brief moment is a little glimpse of what it's like to have no memory. Your memory is a complex system that encodes and stores information so that it can be retrieved for later use. Now you're probably thinking, I'm about to say this boring lecture about brain cells and what it has to do with memory. But let's see if I can surprise you. Your brain consists of specialized cells called neurons. These neurons make up your brain and sends information between them through connections called synapses. The process by which this information is taken in is called encoding. Encoding is a function in your brain that takes in auditory, visual, or chemical stimuli and converts it to an electrical message that is sent around the brain. Then, if it is classified important by you, it will store it. This process is called storing. After that, the information can be retrieved whenever you need it. This process is called retrieval. These three processes, that is, encoding, storing, and retrieving information, is how you are able to remember anything. Pretty simple, right? Okay. Now we move on to the more specific stuff. I'm pretty sure most of you are familiar with the terms short-term memory and long-term memory. Well, if you are, you basically know most of it. Your brain has three stages of memory: sensory memory, short-term memory, and long-term memory. Sensory memory is the first stage of our memory. During this first stage, information can only be stored for a short period of time. About half a second for visual input and 3 to 4 seconds for auditory. Then, if we are attentive and want to keep some of this information, it is then sent to the next stage, short-term memory. Short-term memory is your second stage of memory. Also known as a working memory, it can hold sensory information for 20 to 30 seconds and has a capacity of about 5 to 9 items, depending on each person. A bit like how you're able to remember the 10 numbers of a phone number. After 20 seconds or so, the information can be lost. Through the use of mnemonic devices or memory techniques, like rehearsal or acronyms, you can commit these to long-term memory. Long-term memory, the third and final stage of your memory. Long-term memory, like short-term memory, is also susceptible to the forgetting process. However, its capacity is near infinite and can retrieve information from several hours ago to several decades ago. A bit like one of those aunties that talks for hours, vividly describing their younger days. I have one of those. Now, long-term memory is broken up into three components where memory is stored: procedural memory, semantic memory, and episodic memory. Procedural memory is responsible for most of your motor skills. Also known as your muscle memory, it means you don't have to think to be able to perform a skill. Simply put as automatic. Think of it as how you're able to ride a bike without actually having to think about it. Semantic memory, tasked with the job of remembering information about the world. It is a source of your general knowledge and knowing words of a language. For example, how you're able to remember that Canberra is the capital of Australia. Now, semantic memory requires conscious thought, so that means you have to think about it to be able to use it. Episodic memory, tasked with the job of remembering events and experiences in specific time periods, and like semantic memory, requires conscious thought. For instance, can you think of the first day you started school, or last time you caught the bus? Without these components of our memory, our ability to function as intellectual human beings will cease to exist. Learning anything would be virtually impossible because we would have nowhere to put that in newly learned information. So that would mean we wouldn't know what words mean or how to say them. So talking or communicating to anyone would be unobtainable. Making friends would be unachievable since you can't talk to them. So how will you convey your thoughts or empathize when they are hurt? You would be constantly blind to any sort of emotion because we cannot mirror the same feelings ourselves. Like happiness on a special day, pain from anger, sadness from a lost toy, or love from someone special. We will not be able to treat injuries like cuts or getting sick because we will not have the knowledge to be able to treat those wounds or cure those diseases or sicknesses like the flu. The pets we love and care for would be too much a responsibility for us to handle. Because if we can't look after ourselves, how can we look after other creatures? The loss of your memory would also mean you would not know how to use or make technology, like phones or computers, which means that we would not have the intellect to be able to understand that technology. Technology like planes, cars, trains, buses, and other transportation methods. Household appliances like a kettle, a fridge, washing machines, or even light. Something so simple like turning on a switch that requires one finger and the smallest amount of energy would be significantly difficult if you did not know what a light switch was. These simple tasks that we are able to perform each day is thanks to our memory. The vast abilities and knowledge that we have accumulated in our memory to shape an incredible human being that allows us to work together to accomplish great feats like sending a man to the moon or to create new technology, to open new pathways, to be able to be anything we want to be, like a teacher or a doctor, an architect or an engineer. How we are able to make a difference in the world, like stopping climate change, ending poverty, or curing cancer. So how will you utilize your memory to accomplish great things, to unlock your limitless potential, to make a difference in the world, no matter how small? And if you are able to harness this advanced system called your memory, you can do anything. You can be anything. You can accomplish anything. So just know and believe that your memory will always be there, watching your back. Thank you.